Combat Society. We want to wish everybody a happy new year. My name is Madison, this is Tyron, and we've got a lot to talk about today. UFC 232 in California. It was moved from Las Vegas, and I thoroughly enjoyed the card, and I think you did too. How did you find that one?
Yeah, so this is an amazing card. One of the most anticipated cards of the whole year, probably behind McGregor-Khabib. Now, if we dive straight into the main event, obviously it was Jones versus Gustafsson. We know the result. Jones won by knockout in round 3. But if we look at the fight round by round, a lot of people were saying that it wasn't the John Jones we've seen from old, and he wasn't as good. But I really think that what happened is that Jones was implementing a game plan that allowed him to get the win in the third round. He was avoiding the boxing exchanges, specifically with Gustafsson, and controlling the range with his kicks, good head movement, mixing it up with takedowns, and then eventually proceeded to finish the fight and take him down, get on top, pass the guard, and it was pretty much over. Gustafsson did not have an answer for the ground game. Now, what do you think of that?
Yeah, so I predicted Gustafsson. Jones is just a superior fighter. I thought Gus was going to come out and he was going to be similar to like the first fight, box him up. That wasn't the case. John Jones implemented a strategy that didn't allow him to get in and use his boxing, his hands. He kept him at kicking range, and all credit to him. He put on a great performance and finished a guy who is pretty competitive fighter, one of the best in the light heavyweight division. So Jones is the best by far fighter we've seen. He's so smart. Second time around, comes out and does it way better than the first. So that's just a testament to what kind of fighter he is, and his coaches and the strategy that they were able to come up with.
And also on that, I said in the previous shows that there was a big red flag on the approach that Gustafsson was coming into, his attitude. He was saying stuff like he already beat John, and I feel like that was a major component to this fight. You lose the fight against Jones, even though it was close, and you're coming in with the attitude that you don't need to improve, that it's going to be the same old Jones. Now, that's ignorant, really, to come into a fight thinking it's going to be the same as last time. And even Gustafsson said afterwards in the post-fight, he said stuff like, I came in with the same thing. I just thought I could do the same thing and it would just work this time. But the fact is, you're coming up against Jones, coming up against Jackson Wink MMA. They're very smart. They go over tape a huge amount. They study and come up with the correct game plan, and that's what they did. And for Jones, no one's in his league at this current point. No one in the whole UFC, heavyweight, light heavyweight, it doesn't matter. We do have a fight on the horizon, possibly DC versus Jones. What do you think?
Yeah, so Jones versus DC, he said right after the fight, come and prove you're the champ, you're the real champ. He said he doesn't believe that that's the case, and he's been the champ since 2011. I agree. He has never been defeated, and he's beat Daniel twice now, one being a no contest though. So that's got to be a fight that Daniel has to want, I believe. You can't leave that. You can't leave that unturned. So Daniel, go out and prove it. Prove you're the champ. If you do it, you're going to be the greatest. You're going to be one of the greatest if you do it. So, you are the greatest, but you're going to be on that level of John Jones. So he needs to do it. But there's also two guys who are coming up to light heavyweight. We don't know if Luke Rockhold's 100% doing it, but I've heard he is, and Yoel Romero. So Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold provide a problem that may or may not Jones may or may not be able to deal with them. You know what I mean? Like, they have those weapons, those killer skill sets that he just may not be able to deal with.
Well, that's what's interesting about those two possibly coming up to light heavyweight is, as you've said in the past, other than Jones, Gustafsson, and DC in the light heavyweight division, the rest of the guys are very sloppy and their skill sets are one-dimensional usually. You don't have guys that can do it all, and if you do, then they'll be at the top. Now, on the note of Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero coming up, they have the type of all-rounded skill sets that could allow them to skip the line in terms of fighting the lower-ranked guys and pose the most problems for a guy like Jones or Gustafsson or DC. Now, obviously, Luke Rockhold's never going to fight DC. At light heavyweight. That's not even a fight that would ever be entertained. But Luke Rockhold possibly versus Gustafsson. That's a potential fight that could be really exciting. We also have Yoel Romero versus Jones is a fight that could happen. And now those guys have well-rounded skill sets. They have great striking. They have great grappling. Both of them. Yoel Romero, Olympic wrestler. Luke Rockhold's known for his grappling, and his striking's very good also. So it's interesting if those two come up into the light heavyweight division. It's going to really mix it up, and there's going to be some exciting fights.
Yeah. So John Jones said after the fight that he is looking to go back to the basics. The wrestling, those fundamental wrestling that he has. That he's the Greco-Roman. So against Yoel Romero, it's going to be very difficult. It will be very difficult to implement that game plan. So he's going to have to go with the striking approach against a guy like Yoel Romero.
But on the flip side of that, you say the wrestling approach might not work, but Jones did take down DC.
Yeah.
So that you have that also. So you can't underestimate Jones's grappling, because he could.
But he did not dominate.
He didn't dominate him on the ground.
Dominate him on the ground. So we're talking about a silver medalist in the Olympics.
Yeah.
That is those credentials are greater than Daniel Cormier's.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, to take him to the ground, I think he will scramble out. I feel like he's like explosive like that. So I don't think that's the strategy. I feel like the strategy is to strike with Yoel Romero, similar to what Robert Whittaker did.
Yep.
And come with a game plan to avoid those big shots. And I think that would be a lovely fight. And I'd love to see that fight.
Yep.
That would be
a great fight.
That would be really awesome to see. And Luke Rockhold as well, who poses also dangerous ground game, and his offensive striking is some of the best we've seen. So John Jones has a lot of leverage. He's beat Gustafsson now. He's the light heavyweight champion, and everyone wants to fight Jones. So there's just, the sky's the limit. We don't know who's Jones going to fight. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The co-main event, we've got to give a lot of credit to Amanda Nunes. I believe she's the GOAT now of the female MMA. She's the GOAT. She beat Cyborg. I predicted Amanda Nunes, mind you that. You thought Cyborg was going to win. Everyone told me I'm crazy for picking Cyborg, but I saw in Amanda Nunes' game that she has the ability to do that to people, and she did. And wow.
That was an amazing fight. Obviously a result that I didn't think would ever happen, but it happened, and that's the good thing about MMA. You get these crazy, shocking moments that change the whole landscape of the scene, and this is one of those situations. We've got a double champ, women's double champ, consecutive double champ, entering the likes of Conor McGregor and DC, and then Amanda Nunes is there now. So, but in terms of the fight itself, I can't believe that Cyborg went into the approach of just running at Amanda Nunes, just throwing haymakers, just abandoning all game plans and just going for that, and Amanda Nunes actually coming out on top in that sort of scenario. I thought if it was going to be a situation of just throwing haymakers, I thought Amanda Nunes would be the one to go down and Cyborg would be standing, but it was actually the opposite. Cyborg got dropped like 3 times. She has heart though, and she has a chin, because coming back from getting dropped twice, like literally getting dropped and jumping straight back up and continuing to go, that's some heart. But Amanda Nunes got the job done in style. No need for a rematch, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're saying that she deserves a rematch, but she convincingly beat her, and I believe that someone you convincingly beat does not need a rematch. But who else is she going to fight? So that's the problem. She's a double champ, and there's not really many people that can compete with her right now.
Yep. So
we might have to wait a little bit. We might have to wait and see what Amanda Nunes does. If she defends, which one's she going to defend, or it's hard to defend 2 belts. It really is hard to defend 2 belts.
And also, if you've moved up a weight class, you've won the belt there. Obviously, that's much easier to move up, especially for Amanda Nunes, who does cut some weight to get down to 135. Now she's the champ at 145. It's going to be much easier for her during training camp, during fight week, trying to cut that weight. It won't be as much. And she's beat the girl that's beat everybody. So she is really the king of that division. No one can really step to her. Maybe Holly Holm, who knows? But when you're fighting, when you're in fights of this magnitude, it's hard to sort of go back down and fight the scrubs. You're always looking for the next big fight.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a Conor McGregor situation where you get that sort of that fame and that attention, and you don't go down to fighting the scrubs anymore. Same thing with DC. You win that, and now you're looking for Brock Lesnar fight. Now you're looking to fight Jones again. You don't go back and fight contenders. So, in terms of what Amanda Nunes is going to do from here, we're just going to have to see.
Yeah. Another fighter who has moved up is Michael Chiesa, and this was the fight before that. And this is a new theory that everybody's been saying, that maybe we shouldn't cut all this weight and we should just compete at a higher weight, don't deplete ourselves as much, and feel a bit better in a higher weight class. And that's what Michael Chiesa did on this card. He beat Carlos Condit, a veteran. Mind you, Carlos Condit has been being defeated pretty easily recently. Yeah. But he did a great job, Michael Chiesa, and in welterweight looks like he will be better. He secured a Kimura, and then he finished it with one hand, which was pretty impressive.
That was a great fight. The jiu-jitsu exchanges were quite interesting. They were very enjoyable to watch. Condit very active off his back. Had a couple of submission threats there as well. It was an armbar threat and one other submission. I forgot exactly what it was, but I thought this is dangerous for Chiesa. You keep taking him down, and the offense really wasn't there for Chiesa. It was more Condit really active off his back, really looking for the submission. And I thought this is dangerous. Condit is a veteran and he has submissions. He trains with a lot of high level grapplers, and he's been around the block. So I thought it was dangerous, but eventually Chiesa did get the Kimura and finish the fight. And it's a great start for him coming into welterweight. A very good start. The rankings are really open for him now. He was post-fight. He made some comments about the fact that by the time he gets to the top of the welterweight rankings, if and when he does, the whole situation with Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, and Usman will be sorted out, and it will be open for him to fight for a title because he did look good, and he did look big as well. He looked big. He didn't look small for welterweight. He looked like he was the normal or above average size for welterweight, which is really good for him.
Yeah, it's good to see from Michael Chiesa because he had a little bit of trouble making weight at lightweight. Now he feels he's refreshed and he's in a new weight class and feels like he can really make some moves in this new weight class.
I think so.
The other light heavyweight matchup that was on this card, another Swedish, Ilir Latifi versus Corey Anderson. This was a close fight to begin with. We both predicted Ilir Latifi to win, but Corey Anderson won a decision and he put on a good performance. Latifi had his moments in the fight, but Corey Anderson did what he needed to do, and it puts him, around and about the middle of that division.
Yeah, I would say so. It was a close fight, a good fight. Corey Anderson did what he needed to do. Ilir Latifi, as you said, had his moments, but couldn't really get some momentum. He couldn't get the momentum and really generate a strong offense. We did have Latifi picked, and I really thought he would be the next guy to sort of emerge in the light heavyweight rankings, who could really get to the top and be in the class of the Gustafsons and the Jones and the DCs. He could really be the next guy because he had a lot of momentum behind him coming into this fight. But unfortunately, he didn't. Corey Anderson, he's still a middle of the pack sort of guy, and same thing with Latifi now. So they need to just take the next fight they can get. And try and build it back up.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the light heavyweight division who are just in there, they're just grinding away, who need to get some wins. Corey Anderson got another win. Inconsistent throughout the years, but maybe this is his chance. Maybe a Dominic Reyes would suit him in the next fight. Dominic Reyes is a great fighter. I believe he's undefeated.
Yep.
And he is a prospect, so light heavyweights, it's iffy. The opener of the main card, Aussie, shout out to Alexander Volkanovski. Wow, he just beat Chad Mendes, and Chad Mendes is no slouch. He's elite. He's top of the bunch. He's one of those guys, and Alexander Volkanovski just won his 6th fight in the UFC in a row, 19-1. Wow, this guy's a real deal.
Yeah, I think so. He literally put Chad Mendes into retirement.
Yeah.
Literally, because Chad Mendes did retire 2 days or day after the fight. But Volkanovski put on a great performance. His striking looked crisp. He looked really comfortable, landing clean shots on Chad Mendes, but Chad Mendes also returning with some great shots as well. And it was a really competitive fight up until the second round. It looked like Chad Mendes, the gas wasn't there. He slowed down, and Volkanovski pounced on that, and he got the finish against the fence, landing clean shots, and Chad dropped, and that was it. Great fight. Volkanovski, he's in the territory now where you can start to consider him for some top 4, 3 guys, and possibly fight for a title this year maybe. We don't know.
It is a new year. It's 2019. Featherweights are booming right now. We've got Zabit versus Jeremy Stevens. I believe that's on UFC 235. And we also have Jose Aldo versus Moicano, and that's coming up at UFC Fortaleza in Brazil. So winner of those 2 matchups, and we could see Volkanovski versus one of them, or Frankie Edgar, who hasn't got a matchup.
You got Frankie Edgar there, and then you also got Brian Ortega, but he's off on medical suspension, but you still do have him there. He might fight one fight, and then fight Brian or Frankie. That featherweight division is a bit messy still. We don't know who the clear contender is after Brian Ortega now. So he'll get a fight soon, and hopefully it's Frankie Edgar is the fight. I think I can't think of anybody else who would be in the running to sort of fight Alexander there. There's not many other guys, so I think that would be a great fight. Chad Mendes, he's retired now. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Chad Mendes.
Yeah, a veteran of the sport. He's fought everybody. A really elite, high-level guy in the featherweight division throughout his career, and he's retired now. We don't know if he's moving into any other fields or anything, if he's going into media, or we haven't really heard. But just to retire like that, unexpectedly like that, at a young age, he's probably, what is he, 30?
No, it's got to be like 32, 33.
Yeah, it's still pretty young. Maybe the head trauma's sort of, he's sort of starting to think about it and wants to move on, but all the best to him.
Yeah, so I wish him the best, but 4 of his 5 losses have come by knockout, so they add up. So maybe he has another better thing that he's going to do, and we wish him the best. So he that is going to be a loss to the UFC, and he's an entertaining fighter. He's had some great wars in his career. So yeah, we wish him the best. We'll give some shout outs to some other fights. Megan Anderson, another Aussie, she beat Kat Zingano in the first round, but it was weird because she did a head kick and it hit her right in the eye. It hit Kat Zingano in the eye, and she was unable to continue. So it was a TKO win, but that raises questions whether should we allow toe eye pokes. It's very weird.
Should we allow them? Yes, I think so. It's not out of the realm of possibility that if you kick somebody in the head, a toe might go in their eye. It's totally possible, and there's no way to stop it either. In terms of eye pokes with hands, you can close your hands and that is completely avoided. You can't do the same with your feet, so to make that illegal would be silly.
Yeah, I think it's like when you punch somebody and you punch them right in the eye, but you have a closed fist. It's like that. It's the same. You if you can't continue because you got punched right square in the eye, that's not an illegal shot.
Yeah,
you can't close your foot, so that's it.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. So shout out to her. She got her first win in the UFC, and she's Australian, so congrats to her. Now we're going to talk about Tyron Woodley, UFC 235 in Las Vegas. So Tyron Woodley posted on Twitter who he should fight next, and he put a little poll, and it was Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, and overwhelmingly, as you can see, the polls on the screen, Colby Covington, 85% of people chose that he should fight Colby Covington next. So that's also who I want to see. I think Usman's a better matchup, more exciting probably. Not exciting. It's a closer matchup, but Colby's the more exciting, and people want to see Colby get beat up, I guess.
Yeah, that is the fight to make in the welterweight division. It has been for some time now, since Colby was the interim champion. His status on that isn't actually clear if he still is the champ. He still claims he is. So Who knows?
Still carries it around, the belt.
He is the fight that everybody wants to see. He has been injured. He hasn't been as active as Usman, who's as of late been more active, and he's had more impressive performances as well. So if you were to just base it strictly on what you've done in the last year or so, Usman has been more impressive. Colby's talked a lot of crap, but hasn't really done much. He's been injured, to be fair. But the fight is Colby versus Tyron. We need to get that out of the way, because out of all the guys that are in title contention or would fight for a title, Colby, honestly, I believe, is Tyron's easiest matchup. I don't think Colby has any real weapons that are really gonna give any trouble to Tyron, and I think that's an easy win for Tyron. Once he gets that out of the way, then Tyron's got some really hard fights coming up. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, so Usman, great fighter, and that's what we want to see eventually. But I feel like you have to get through that rivalry first. You just have to. That's what the fans want. So must get that done. Then look for other things, end that saga, and then it'll be fine. But that's at UFC 235 that he wants to fight. We don't know if he's going to fight there. Also on that card is another welterweight matchup. Great fight. Awesome. Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren, and I guess they want to prepare together or something.
Yeah, I'd say he's put that out there to see, to possibly fight on that card, letting the fans know. Is it something they'd be interested in? Because obviously his teammate and training partner Ben Askren is fighting on that card. That would match up perfectly for Tyron, in terms of schedule and timing, and that'd be really good if they could get on that card. That'd be a nice, really stacked, nice card if that could happen.
Yeah, hopefully that happens, because that's our card that's missing a championship fight. So I'm guessing Dana called him and said you probably have to fight on that card.
Yeah,
and Tyron Woodley, they're saying, Dana White has been saying to him that he doesn't fight often, and the next welterweight title matchup might not include Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
So that's because he believes that Tyron doesn't defend it enough.
So you're saying Dana's claiming that he was going to strip him?
He said he basically said that.
Oh wow. That's a bit dumb, because
he doesn't really like Tyron.
Yeah, they have some beef.
I think he was. I don't know if he was 100% serious, but he did say that it might not it's going to happen with or without Tyron Woodley. Something of that nature, he said.
Look, if that happened, that would be the worst thing that ever happened to the UFC, because Tyron, when he's not injured, he does fight and he does defend his belt and he wins. And he wins. And he does all the media. He's a real... I don't know what the beef is there, because Tyron really is a company guy. When he's not injured, he's down to fight, and he fights, and he beats him.
He's a very successful
champion. He beats
champion.
your ass, Like, I don't know. That's what he does, actually. So, Dana White's a bit crazy there, so I'm not going to pay much attention to that. If that did happen, then I'd be quite disappointed with that. It'd be probably one of the worst strippings they could ever do. But who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Also, we saw some more chaos. Mayweather fought Tenshin Nasukawa, and he just completely obliterated him in the first round. The exhibition fight actually went through, which we spoke about a while ago, and that actually happened. And it raises some questions, because kind of looked like it was a little bit, I don't know, it looked like some weird drops,
Yeah, a lot of people on the internet were saying that it looks rigged, and I can see why they would think that, because there were some suspicious drops. He did drop once. He got clipped on the top of the head, just pretty much right here, and then a body shot, and he dropped.
Didn't even think he connected.
The body shot didn't look like it really connected, but
kind of looked like a late reaction.
I can see why people do think that, but I'll go back to what Ariel Hawani said on Twitter, and it's a really good point, because he said, if the fight was going to be rigged, it wouldn't be like this. A fight would be rigged the opposite way for Floyd Mayweather to lose. Because think about it like this. Would Ryzen put their number one guy in there to get destroyed by Mayweather in a rigged scenario? Would they do that? For what?
It doesn't seem like
for a payday of $9 million for what? Why would they want to do that? They have Mayweather has his own company. He's nothing to do with them. Tenshin Nasukawa is their guy. That's like saying Floyd Mayweather comes to MMA against Conor McGregor, and Dana White wants Conor McGregor to lose. It doesn't make any sense. That's the kind of, like, you know what I'm saying? If Floyd Mayweather came to MMA and he's fighting Conor, Dana White's not gonna want Conor to lose, is he?
No.
He's gonna want Conor to win because that's his guy, and that's the same scenario we're seeing here. So anyone to say it's rigged, I don't think he would even need a rigged. I think Floyd's just that good even now that is him getting destroyed in one round is a scenario that would happen, and it did. I think the only reason why people may think it's rigged is because there was a lot of controversy going into this fight, and things that normally don't look suspicious, or if you don't look, you wouldn't look twice at them usually, or you would think about them like, oh, that looks a bit weird, but there's no motive behind it. This time we sort of have a motive about why it may be rigged, and that's making us think about the certain scenarios in the fight a bit more. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, some weird drops, but I think he would beat him anyway. It doesn't. He in a real fight, I think he would lose in a boxing match, like in a proper fight.
Who would?
Floyd.
In a MMA fight?
No, in like a proper. If it was like a professional fight, they would easily dismantle him.
Floyd would?
Floyd would dismantle Tenshin.
Oh yeah. In 12 rounds.
In a sanctioned bout.
12 round boxing fight. Of course, easily.
Yeah. We don't know if how Floyd was training for that. We don't know how if Tenshin was there. Like we don't know if they were taking it completely serious or like what was happening.
Floyd said he said afterwards in the post fight, he said, I went to the gym a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just to move a bit. I didn't really train. And he did look. He didn't look like he normally looks. He looked soft, a bit blown out. You know, he obviously keeps in shape, but he's not in tip top 12 round shape. So that's what we saw there.
Yep. Now we're going to talk about ESPN, and the first card that is coming up for ESPN Plus will be Cejudo versus Dillashaw, and that's a title fight. Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw, and basically this is the fight to close the flyweight division, which is kind of sad that we're going to see an end to the flyweight division so soon. But yeah, how do you see that fight going? How do you see that?
How do I see this fight going? TJ versus Henry? I think TJ's got an advantage. I think he's more well-rounded. I think his striking's a bit better. Henry has some weapons too. His wrestling, obviously, his main strength there, but I think TJ's more experienced and he's just more dangerous. Especially, he'll be dropping down in weight. So on fight night, you will expect TJ to be a bit heavier. So I do favor TJ there. It is a bit. I'll speak on another aspect of the fight.
I don't reckon we go deep into it.
No?
I just think I'll make an early prediction.
Yeah.
I think Henry Cejudo is going to win. I predicted Henry Cejudo against Demetrius.
Yep.
Is that you going for TJ?
I'm not going to make an official prediction yet, but
I'm going to make an early prediction and say Cejudo's going to win. We'll go into that detail in a couple of weeks because it's only 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks, and it's going to be in New York. That's going to be a great card. But yeah, I'm going to make Henry Cejudo. I think the gold medalist will win. Also, do you think it's a good idea that they're going to put a championship bout on a non-pay-per-view card? What do you think of that?
I feel like that's okay. Because it is the first ESPN card, and they obviously want to make an impact.
Well, I guess is it pay-per-view? Because you have to pay for Plus, but like it's not. It's like, what does that mean?
It's not a pay. It's not. It won't be a pay-per-view. No, it's not like what's the event called?
Well, it's just ESPN.
Yeah, it's ESPN
Plus.
Fight Night. So it's a UFC Fight Night, Cejudo versus Dillashaw. So
but you do have to pay for Plus. That's the thing.
But it's not a pay-per-view though.
Yeah.
It's a pay for the prescription for the subscription.
Yeah, it's like a stream. It's like almost like a streaming service.
It's a great idea in terms of them getting some really good content out on the first ESPN card. They really want to make an impact, get people to subscribe straight away, because people do want to see this fight. That's a very smart strategy for them. Because I'm going to be subscribing because I want to watch that.
What's the?
Think about it this way: if they had a really low level card on the first, there would be no incentive for people to subscribe. The fact that they're putting a title fight on there is a very good business move for them.
Do you think they'll make fight? Does that make Fight Night obsolete? Fight Pass obsolete or?
From what I've been hearing from Dana, he's made some comments about it. They said that the ESPN, I think it's the Fight Pass is going to be all of it, and then ESPN stuff will be separate because Fight Pass also has like Cage Warriors and Polaris and all these. They have a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff as well. They have not just the UFC stuff. They have all these other organizations, and then they also have the fight library, all the previous fights they've got on Fight Pass, and then the ESPN Plus is a different thing.
It says here it's a digital streaming platform. So that's actually, I think that's actually the future, the streaming. So it's like DAZN. They're streaming fights, and they have that Canelo contract. I think that's a good idea from ESPN to that's their own streaming platform, and that could that's obviously going to extend to other sports, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that ESPN Plus includes everything, obviously, not just MMA, but they've also got Ariel Hawani's on ESPN Plus, Ariel and the Bad Guy with Chael Sonnen, they're on there. Doing the subscription service. So Dana White's saying there's going to be really good things coming out of ESPN in this year. There's going to be Roy Jones Jr. boxing.
Is that a promotion?
I believe it's like some sort of, I don't know exactly. It's some sort of fight night thing where he co-promotes with Dana, something like that.
And we must make mention this fight, Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw, being put on the ESPN Plus card in January 19th, is a result of the cancellation of UFC 233. We must note that UFC 233 is no longer happening. It's going to skip from UFC 232 to 234. So they completely cancelled that bout, that card, because they probably had the idea that we need to put something good on the ESPN card, and we don't really have time. We don't really have enough time to find a matchup, so we're going to get rid of the card and we're going to put it on that. And I think, do you reckon they should just go from 232 to 233 and get rid of 234? How does that? Why just get rid of 233?
Yeah, they should just make whatever was going to be 234 now would just become 233. There's no reason to actually not have a card there. Is that actually?
So 233 is a cancelled bout. It was a scheduled. It's like a cancelled event. It was supposed to be in California, and they cancelled the whole thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is a bit weird.
So it's going from 232 to 234.
It's a bit odd, but whatever they want to do. Doesn't really matter.
And then the 234 will just be not as normal. So I'm looking forward to Cejudo and Dillashaw. I'm hoping that they just don't close the division. I don't think they should. I think maybe there's an argument if TJ wins. But if Cejudo wins, don't close the division, and I think keep it open. Like, why would you, if you win, just get rid of it?
Yeah, obviously this is a play to really pump up TJ.
Yeah,
because they favor him. Huge. They favor him highly, obviously, to win this fight, as probably most people do. It's a bit sad on Henry's part because he doesn't get the chance to go up,
and he just won it. That's everything to him.
That's the thing. And
2 gold.
Obviously, they're really trying to push TJ. They really wanted to win this and be a double champ, and then destroy that division, and then he'll move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, well, I think it's closer than we think. But yeah, that's all we got time for, guys, today. That's Combat Society 2019. It's going to be a bigger year than ever. And make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. We love your comments. Like the video, click the notification icon so you make sure you see all the content we have. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Combat Society AUS, and on Twitter at Combat Society AU. We'd love to see you on there. Peace out for now.